Chris, everybody.
What are you doing over here? Hi guys, I'm Chris Caton. I'm a business advisor consultant at Cultivate Advisors. Cultivate Advisors is a small business advisory firm. Every single business advisor at Cultivate is a former small business owner. I owned my business for over a decade with over 100 people working for me at our peak. In Chicago is a sales organization that provided real estate services to property management firms. Lots of fun and enjoyed it. These days, what I really enjoy doing though is helping small businesses grow. I do that through a lot of operational and fractional COO work. Coming in, figuring out what it is that a business does, how it does it, and how we can improve how it does it. So with that, what I really wanted to talk about today, oh hi, look at me. Gosh almighty, I'm so sorry I had to start this talk with that picture. Are you too busy? I just want to talk a little bit about busyness and the culture of busyness at work. I find this a lot with the small business owners I work with, which is that they feel that there's this badge of honor about being really busy, about being perhaps overly busy. So, some indicators, just some pointers on busyness and why it is I'm concerned about how busy you all are. First things first, 97% of business owners think that strategic thinking is critical to success. Having the time to think strategically about your business is a big part about what it is that makes you successful in your business. And this is true whether you own a business or not. In the professional setting, being able to set aside and think about what it is you want and what you're trying to achieve in your career goals, critical to being able to actually achieve those goals. Is there anyone here who would disagree that spending some time actually thinking about what they want and how they're going to get there is important in getting there? You can argue with me. Cowards. Okay, good. I'm going to assume you all agree. You know better than 3% of business owners, which is good to know. So, before you can plan strategically, you actually have to set aside time to plan strategically. You need to sit down and give yourself the white space in your life and in your mind to think about what it is you want and then how it is you're going to get there. So with that in mind, anyone here work more than 50 hours in a week? No, I do. Yeah, most of you, virtually all of you it looks like. Productivity drops pretty dramatically after 50 hours in a week. Anybody think that they're really productive after that 50-hour mark? You think hour 51 is really knocking it out of the park? No one gets into the groove at hour 50, but we all do it, right? We're all overachievers, especially if you've spent and invested your time coming here, you must be an overachiever. Are any of you managing your entire life through a to-do list? Focusing exactly on what it is I have to do next, what it is I have to do today, what is it that I need to achieve, and what it is I need to accomplish, right? You've got a list of things that we have to go out there and accomplish today, right? I think this is common, maybe less so than 150 hours, which is good, but also common amongst a lot of these high achievers. If you're always in execution mode, what I need to do next, what's next on my calendar, what my next meeting is, what my next appointment is about, what it is I have to deliver to all of my clients, how it is I'm going to get across the line. If you're somebody who's obsessed with goals and productivity and making sure that you hit that next benchmark and maintain those KPIs and really make sure that you pressure and drive and grow to succeed every minute of every day. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of mental space. It's taxing. It's not confusing. It's draining. It takes a lot of energy to operate in that execution mode every single minute of every single day. So what the heck? Oh, and then finally, do you feel like you have enough time to just sit and think? Or, more importantly, would you give yourself the grace to just waste time thinking? Would you schedule time in your calendar to just sit and think a little bit? Right? Sounds familiar. This is your world. Would you pause and slow down? Now, some of us, we try and have it both ways. Well, I'm going to go for a little jog and think at the same time, or we're going to go for a walk around the neighborhood and get some exercise in and give myself a little bit of downtime. Not the same, it doesn't count. Would you sit down and just waste time, quote unquote, thinking? If that's not the kind of person you are, I'll tell you, you're not alone. Most people are like that. Most high achievers, most people want to rock it up either within their organizations, get promotions, or if they own a business and they want to be successful. This is pretty typical. The average worker spends about 28% of their time going through email. Anyone here have a lot of email? Yeah? Anyone here have an inbox that's kind of out of control? I checked this before I came out here. I have something like 675 unread emails right now in my personal inbox, which is embarrassing. I was lucky to get down to only 40 in my work inbox today. My personal inbox, I haven't touched for months. We spend entirely too much time processing. It's big teams, right? The typical manager in an organization will attend 62 meetings in a month. Now, okay, that sounds like a lot, right? 62 meetings sounds like a lot. That seems like a huge investment of time. That's 3 a day? Any of you think you do 3 or more meetings on average a day? Feel familiar? A huge time sink, right? It gobbles up, if it's an hour piece, that gobbles up half of your day. Prepping for that meeting, being ready to go at that meeting, conducting that meeting is energy consuming and time consuming. It's an enormous amount of work. And it's not without good reason. If you're an employee in an organization and you average more than 50 hours in a week, on average you'll earn 6% more in salary than your colleagues who work fewer than 50 hours a week. So not only is this common, it's rewarded at the companies we work for, right? Or if you're a small business owner, rewarded in the growth of your business. That investment of time, of inefficient, burdensome, draining time, gets a financial reward. Finally, 96% of senior leaders in organizations feel like they don't have enough time to do strategic thinking. They absolutely don't feel like they have time today. Who can blame them? If they're going to 60 or more meetings in a week, if they're spending a quarter of their time or more on email, if they're running meetings with their team, if they're just desperately trying to get some work out the door, when are you going to have time to just sit and think, or give yourself permission to sit and think? If you've got a growing inbox, you haven't tackled it yet, you sit down and say, oh man, rather than clear out my inbox, I'm just going to sit here and think for a little while. Nobody does that. Why would you do something like that? Except you came and listened to me talk to you, and you walk away from this being like, I'm going to do what Chris said. I'm going to put some time on my calendar to think. So, why? Why on earth do we do this to ourselves? What is the motivation other than the 6% pay raise, right? Well, first of all, frenzy, this feeling of constant busyness, makes us feel valuable. It's a natural human inclination to think, man, if people want all of my time like this, clearly I'm important, right? My day is full because look at all the people who have demands on my time. It feels good to be in demand. I think it's totally normal human experience. It's like, yeah, I want to be in demand. I want people to want to spend time with me. So when I'm busy, obviously I'm doing great, right? We feel valuable. Additionally, in a lot of ways, being this frenzy, this busyness, can distract us from our real problems. You know, if I'm too busy to think about the fact that I haven't met my sales goals this month, I don't feel bad about meeting my sales goals this month because I'm not dwelling on it. I'm not aware of it. I'm not conscious of it. So I fill that mental space with busyness. Another meeting, another report that I absolutely have to get out, me writing up yet another memo to send to my boss about why what she's doing is wrong. You know, you find a way to fill your time if you want to distract yourself from the problems you're really facing. And then finally, that frenzy can really enhance our social status. What sort of people are busy in your mind? High-powered executives, presidents, CEOs. How many people on Twitter like to go on there and say, hey, I'm going to pick, some sort of executive of a big tech company and look at my efficient day that starts at 5 a.m. and I journal and then I'm busy until 8 p.m. and they have their whole lives planned out and they're super busy, right? If we are these sort of people who are like other people who are busy, we make ourselves more busy, even not necessarily so. There are a lot of social, sort of subtle cues in our society now that say, hey, busyness means social status. If you're the kind of person who's busy, you're the kind of person that's in demand, that makes you a more appealing person to be around. So, enhance our social status. So, how do we fix this? How do we get away from this feeling of frenzy? How can you individually get away from this feeling of frenzy? 2 things. I'm just going to give you 2 things to work on because I'm not a big fan of sitting here and telling people that I got some 10-step action plan that's going to solve all your problems. I'm going to give you 2 things to work on. First things first, we're going to redefine busyness, redefine that frenzy. Frenzy is not I'm in demand. Frenzy is I'm out of control. I'm not in control of my schedule. I don't feel like I can set aside an hour or 2 a week to focus on my long-term thinking and my long-term strategy. I feel like I am a slave to the people who want my time rather than being in control of my schedule. Right? So when you sit down and you look at your to-do list, or you look at your calendar, or you look at your inbox and you think, man, look at how busy I am. I want you to stop yourself when you think that. I want you to think, man, look at how totally out of control this is. I need to wrangle this. I need to focus on making sure that I have time for what is important, which is taking the time to think about strategy, think about my long term, think about planning, think about where I want to go and what I want to do in my life. And then second, I want you to set time every single month for that white space thinking. Go into your calendar, make an appointment with just yourself, block out the time. Don't let anyone else take that time from you. And spend that time reflecting on your priorities. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? What kind of success do I want to enjoy? What kind of business do I want to be running? What sort of future do I see for myself, and how am I going to get there? And to literally set aside the time. I do it every single day. I call it professional development, so my boss doesn't ask me what it is that I'm doing in that time. And I set aside time on my calendar to say, hey, no one else can touch this. I'm developing myself and focusing on my own personal long-term strategy. And that's how I build time in my life for that white space thinking, and that's what I want all of you to do too. So, walking out of here today, if you feel busy, think of that as a negative thing. Stop thinking about it as a positive thing, or stop leaning into the idea that busyness is a positive phenomenon and think, busyness, that means I'm out of control. And then second, I want you to physically set aside that white space, that time on your calendar, the time in your day you need to think about where it is you want to go and how you want to get there. Think anyone here can't do that? If so, I know somebody here would be able to help you out with setting aside that time. Good. Once you do all of that, that's when I want you to reach out to me. Once you figured out what your strategy is for your business, give me a call. We'll talk about what the next steps are. Sound good? Brilliant. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.